want to welcome everyone to Getting to the Truth in This Heart. I'm Rob Lee from Mastermind Team's Robcast and MTR Podcast. And today, the art du jour, the soup of the day, boom. We got my man Melvin Penn here from the soup of the day, right?
Yeah, right. So
local noted comedian.
Yeah.
Man about town, I suppose.
I don't know.
I mean, I just see
keep up with tabs on that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. All right. Shit.
I'm just here for a good time. Happy to be here.
Not here for a long time.
Right.
So I want to thank you for pulling up, coming through, checking us out. And we connected through mutual friend.
Right.
And I was just like, all right, cool. How are we going to do this? How are we going to set this up? Because I think when you first reached out, and I think we were chatting initially, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing for this show.
Right.
I was like, I might do 5 episodes. And I was like, you know how you come off of maybe a bad situation? Like, it might be a bad set. You might bomb. You're like, am I going to continue doing this? Don't want to continue.
Yeah, I feel that.
So I was coming off a shit podcast. And I was like, this one will never see the light of day.
Right. I'll bury that one deep down.
I was like, nah, don't even talk about it.
Right.
So let's talk about you a little bit to start off. Let's give not the elevator pitch, but let's get the synopsis. What's your background? What's your situation? What's your art, as it were? To sound as pretentious as possible. You can see the turtleneck forming.
Yeah, so pretty much a couple years ago, I think I was around 18, and I was I just was working in a restaurant. I was in the restaurant industry for 7 years, and I started at 18. Dropped out of college, was doing that. Was really good with people, making people laugh, and I was like, should I do comedy? Right? And literally, I think I surveyed 30 people.
Okay, yeah.
And I asked 30 different friends, and I was like, should I try comedy? And they were like, yeah, dude, do it. You're funny.
Spin it, man.
Yeah, do it. You should try it out. I'll come see it. And so I was making all these people laugh and was just trying in regular everyday conversation to not push making people laugh on people, but just casually talking without thinking about it and seeing how they would react. And then people just were laughing, and I was like, maybe I could do this on a stage on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Right? So I set out to do that. And then put goals in front of myself, and I was like, if I can do this, I can do that, then I totally am ready to get on stage.
Totally.
And I was crushing all these goals, but the one thing that I had to do was make my dad laugh at something that I came up with. And I don't really tell jokes, I tell stories.
Yeah.
And I'm not, he doesn't really have the attention span to sit there and listen to a whole fucking story. So I was working and just having normal conversations. And our conversations don't typically if I don't have the Carfax, you know what I mean? He's just I don't care. I need
straight
resources.
details.
Yeah, I need details. So one day I said something stupid, made him laugh, and I was like, this is it. This is the moment.
If a tree falls in the woods.
Yeah, I was like, I'm ready. And just started doing a bunch of stuff. I did the Magoobies Joke House competition a couple times, came second place, ended up winning one year. Did some stuff at High Tops and just going around locally, doing open mics, meeting people, started a show and joined a comedy group that I helped start and stuff. So really been doing that for the last I guess 5 or 6 years.
Good shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you seem to be a bit of a nerd, a bit of a blur.
Yeah, black nerd for sure.
Same universe. I had a weird situation, I want to say, at BlurCon maybe last year. You're watching the black comedians, and it's we in this motherfuckers, and I was like, yo, there's one big suit and fedora away from being comic view. 95, my G. But what would you say? How do you define yourself? It's almost yo, I mean, not everyone does it, but how would you class yourself? It's almost what kind of comedian are you?
I feel that for the longest time I was trying to figure out my voice. I was slowly getting everything down to the point where I knew what I was going to do with the mic when I got on stage. I knew how I was going to introduce. I knew how I was going to close out. Yeah. And then recently I actually joined a comedy group, and all the shit that they were complaining about other comedians doing, I noticed that I was doing all those things. Shit. And then had to go back to the drawing board, and currently I'm in that phase of retrying to figure out what it is that I want to do on stage. Totally. So I've currently been in that, but I know for a fact that when I get on stage, I'm telling stories about my life. I don't really tell jokes where there's a introduction, punchline, or introduction, joke, and then punchline, and then boom, laughter, move on to the next joke, or transition into whatever you're gonna talk about next. I just talk about what has gone on in my life, and how it's either awkward or fucked up. And that's like typically I'm just like a storyteller pretty much.
So as a comedian, like what do you find funny? Like
so like people tell me all the time that like when they watch me at comedy shows, watching other people, because people do that. They'll like watch me to see my reaction to what other people are saying.
Yeah.
And I'm just like sitting like, apparently they were like, you're just unfazed. And I was like, I don't even, what? Like, They didn't say anything funny yet. Like, I don't know. And most of it's like open mics, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times when people are genuinely like, you know, good at the craft, like I'll laugh at shit. But like, I hate like cringe humor. Like, I hate that. Like, The Office, like, that stuff just makes me feel uncomfortable. It's just, like, why? Like, yes, I hate The Office.
Oh. Interview's over. Bye.
Like,
it's been real. Fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. But no, yeah, like, but the stuff I do like is, like, it's, like, really hard to explain. It's just, like, I don't know, like that old school like slapstick shit.
Okay, yeah.
For real, like honestly really gets me going. Like if you ever look at any like cartoon, like what I've been watching recently a lot is a lot of Amazing World of Gumball.
Okay, I like that show.
I've been watching that a lot lately.
Yeah.
And like Always Sunny. And like there's not too many cringe stuff in Always Sunny. It's just straight up ignorant. And I like that too. Like I enjoy just straight up in your face ignorant. You know what you're signing up for. Like you're not gonna watch this if you're easily offended. You're like,
I mean, I really like Rob, the creator on there, one of the creators or what have you, and it's like seeing his story initially and then how they kind of started off and moved ahead. I was like, okay, I see what I'm doing. And I see there's some parallels there in running that thing. And I think in attempting to be funny, and it's not one of those bits where it's like, yeah, man, you know a good joke right here? You should talk about this. Right, yeah. Fuck out of here. But I think generally, like, you know, I'll have some shit that I'll say, and I realize, like, people find the funnier things that I say are usually mean as fucking shit. It's mean as shit. Yeah. And it's just like, huh. So this is what we're doing.
Right, dude. Like, some of the funniest moments I guess people have seen me in are, who's the guy that does Curb Your Enthusiasm?
That would be Larry David.
Right, Larry David. Someone compared me to him, and I was like, that guy's a fucking legend, bro. I was like, I'm nowhere near that level of, like, comedy.
And comedians hate that shit, too.
Yeah, he was like, no, bro. Like, okay, so this was the situation that happened. And I had only seen a couple episodes of that.
Yeah,
but when the situation was happening, all I could do was, like, look down and be embarrassed because I was like, you're right. I am just, like, making a big deal out of absolutely nothing. Because that's just, like, his, like, that's what he does, right? He just makes a big deal out of absolutely nothing. And we were, like, in the liquor store.
Yeah.
And, like, instead of putting my full signature on the thing, I just put a squiggly line and I hand it back to you.
As one does.
How are you supposed to know that it's not my signature, right? So got the alcohol, put a squiggly line, gave it back, and he goes, no, he gives me the receipt back. I'm like, won't give me my card back, and it's like, no, I need you to put your full signature. And I was like, what the fuck do you mean?
How do you know my signature?
What do you mean?
How do you know my signature isn't like a sperm wave and shit?
Literally like a 3-minute back and forth. I was like, no, like give me my. He was like, no, like signature. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I had to like write my little signature. My friend's looking at me and he's like, dude, really? Like you really wasted 3 minutes of our time for it. I was like, but like it's the principle. And he's like, you are Larry David. Like,
okay, that's fair.
I was like, all right, shit, dude.
Okay, we can hang out because that's similar things.
Yeah, I was just like, but like it's the principle. Like,
and so most important question about that whole situation: what were you buying to drink?
I don't even know at the time.
Shit.
I can tell you what I drink now currently, and like I'm not afraid to like say it, but I have this huge thing for twisted tea.
That's fair.
Love it. Love tea and like, you know what I mean? Mm. Love some sweet tea.
You can never cop to liking tea.
You don't like tea?
Nah.
Dang, son.
No, I like tea. I like tea.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was like, every time a black person tell me they don't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Dominican for one too. No. Okay. So let's see. Actually, I should probably read off the fucking questions I wrote.
No
I didn't do any work today. I just wrote questions.
There you go.
Because, you know, multitasking. So when coming up with new material, what does that process look like? What's involved in that process?
So that's currently when I'm at like a wall with like my material. When I first started, I like never came up with like a full blown set that I was gonna keep doing because I felt weird constantly talking about the same shit. I felt like it just wasn't genuine because I feel like the funniest shit I come up with just like pops off.
Yeah.
And then I would have to like culminate and like practice it. But then like after doing it so many times on stage, I felt like it got stale. So it was just like constantly coming up with different shit to talk about until like last year I came up with a full blown set that I like followed with and it was like killing. And then towards the end of the year, I just kind of lost interest in the shit that I was talking about. And most of the stuff that I was talking about dealt with the time period that I wrote about it. So it kind of wasn't relevant anymore.
Yeah.
And like now I've just been like kind of trying to think about what the hell I'm gonna talk about on stage. And like like went to New York to do comedy, and there were like agents there, and like they gave us all this like really good feedback, and they were just like, yeah, like your comedy, like your stage presence are like really good.
Yeah.
But like you're just like talking about nothing in circles, and I was like, oh well, fuck
Fuck
me,
you too.
I guess. Yeah. Like, so I guess I gotta go back to the drawing board and come up with some fucking material. And so I told my mom about this, and she was like, so what are you gonna do to like deal with that? You know, that was very nice of them to tell you that. And she's always like very positive, like
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like I can get in a car accident, and she'd be like, well, get a new car in this situation. You know, she's super positive. She's like, so what are you gonna do with this? And I was like, I'm going to Vermont in the mountains, and I'm gonna eat some acid, and I'm gonna write a new set. And she like nervously laughed and was like, and I was like, no, like I'm really going to Vermont though. Like I'm going snowboarding. And she was like, I never know when you're joking. And I was like, but like I'm going, and I'm gonna write some new material in the mountains. She was like, all right, cool. Like
It's the wildest shit. Like on the weekends, I might just start bringing a microphone with me because I feel like we do this weird news, like it's kind of like weird news, true crime, and comedy podcast. It's kind of that vein, and you know, I realized like a lot of the funnier shit that I'm doing, I'm doing on the weekends when nothing's recorded. And I was just like, all right, let me remember this. That's a funny observation. Let's cover this, cover that, and I might just keep a mic there. I might just keep a mic around because it's like
I just write everything down in my notes. I have like a long note from like years ago that I started with jokes, and just like anytime something like weird or interesting or something I may want to talk about again happens, I just like write it down because I know I'm gonna forget. Just like type it down real fast.
I think at one point, because they tried to have your boy come here and do the stage, do the improv, and I was like, no. I was like, look at me. I was like, all of this fucking just, hey, man, yes and, man. Act like you're in a box. It's like, what box? How big of a box?
Improv is fun, but
Is it
like
tape?
I just like, I can't not think outside of the box. So I feel like when I'm doing certain things, it's just like fucking out there. You know, like, in the comedy group that I'm in, like we'll do like improv and shit. Like every time I would get up on stage, it was just like out there. But like was just like I'm like pretty creative. Yeah, like sure. I think one of the improv bits was like it was like we were doing like an improv game, but it was like on stage and like we had to like be a cop, and I went full blown like 50s police officer from like Chicago, never even been to Chicago. Yeah, and it was like kept fixing my belt and it was just like, yeah, see, like
that's pretty good.
I really enjoy like getting into that shit, but sometimes I feel like I just like get too far out there with it.
Yeah, like, you know, the way that we kind of try to do things, we just have like at least a story that we're going to cover and some like version of a premise, and then we just like freestyle the rest of that shit.
Sure, yeah.
And that because it's been getting more attention recently, it's been more feedback. It's like, yo, that shit's fucking great. I'm like, oh, I thought it was terrible. I thought it was a terrible bit. Like we were just talking about reality shows and this thing called Podmasters, and it went nowhere.
Right.
And people were just thinking it was good.
People like that shit.
It's like getting that feedback. So what feedback would you say kind of like gave you like, okay, maybe I should focus in here outside of the experience you had in up in New York, but like feedback maybe from someone who was like, yeah, I like that shit you did.
So like I have this like social like disorder thing where I can't pick up on non-verbal communication.
Okay.
And so I literally need someone to tell me if I'm doing good or bad, right? So when you first start and all your friends come to support you, all they're doing is telling you that you're doing good. Therefore, I could never gauge if I ever actually did bad.
Got it.
Because people were like, oh, that was great. And a lot of the times people are just kind of just like pity, like, oh, you did such a good job because like you came out and they're supporting you. Until like people like actually start telling me like, this is what you can work on. Or that sucked. Like I had a homie like, a homie in my roommate was like, dude, that fucking sucked. And I was like, dude, what? And he was like, don't talk about politics. And I was like, you got it. And then like after that, just like stop talking about politics. And like I appreciate honest feedback. Like I'm not gonna get offended, you know what I mean? And if I do, like tell me to shut up. Like, you know what I mean? Like I need that honest feedback because I can't read you, the crowd. I can't read that. The only thing that I'm getting from the crowd that's letting me know I'm doing a good job is the laughter. Yeah. And I'm not getting that. That makes me anxious. So it's just like this whole like thing, right? So if I start bombing, it's just like you guys having a good time or not? Like, so, like, what's the opposite? It's like, there's a lot of tomatoes being thrown up here right now. Right, just like, well, like, is that a fruit salad? Lately now, like, so there's I did comedy in like October of last year. Yeah. And was slowly like, it was like my birthday weekend. I was literally after the show was getting in a car to go to Arkansas to go to a music festival.
Yeah.
My brain was not in the event. I was like trying to get out of Maryland and go. And
I dig it.
Went to go do the show. It was at Brewer's Cask. And like doing the show, and I don't know if you've ever been in there, but like imagine this space is the bar, right? You walk in, and along this wall, from that wall to this wall, is the bar.
Okay, yeah.
And on the other side of the wall, it's just like the chairs, the high top chairs and shit, and there's like a bar here, right? So this is the stage also.
Oh shit.
Is here. So you come into the door, the stage is here. So there are like other comics that were on the show. And the lady that's sitting so this is the stage, right? Lady sitting right here at the bar. Like black lady just sitting right there. I'm like done my set. I got the light and I'm like looking at everyone to kind of read the crowd to figure out if I'm gonna talk about something specific or just like do a little bit of crowd work before it's over. And this lady is just like fed up. And for someone who can't read nonverbal communication, I could clearly see that this lady didn't like anything I was talking about and hated my guts. So I engaged her in conversation because I never truly want to offend anyone. It's never mine. I mean, if I'm saying something that's fucked up, it's to bring awareness to the fact that this is fucked up, and you should probably do some, you should probably look into it, right?
A little satire or a reference.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just like, I'm only bringing this up not to be a dick about the situation, but to let you know that, like, this is an actual situation, right?
Totally.
And this lady just, like, was not having it. And, like, was just, like, actively gone out of the way. And it was like eating dessert, which was like kind of funny to me. It was like, who comes out to a comedy show and just sitting there eating dessert by yourself at a bar, sitting up front at like, did you not know this was happening tonight? But like didn't get into it. But like we were like going back and forth.
Eating tiramisu and shit.
And like, yeah, dude, like dessert nachos. You ever been to Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yo,
They have the fucking dessert nachos. That's what it looked like. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, how dare you?
That's
like,
low rent, by the way.
But this lady, like, she was very, very upset, right? And we were like going back and forth, which was kind of getting some laughter. And then I talked to people afterwards, and they were like, people genuinely, they didn't know what was going on. Yeah. They thought that we were related.
Because black.
Right, because we're both black. So they just assumed that we were related, and that the only reason why I engaged this lady is because I knew her and felt bad that I offended her. Right. So I got that feedback, and I was like, oh shit, no, like, I did know that lady, which made it funnier for people after the fact. And then, like, as it's going on, I was like, lady, like, what the fuck? So I was trying to get her to genuinely tell me what I said or what I did to offend her. Then I was going to then apologize about it. And it was, like, funny, right? Yeah. But then she was just like, no, like, leave me alone, right? And then someone, like, some deep black voice, like, so again,
deep black.
Yeah, I'm, like, at the stage looking. Yeah. At the front door, like, up against the wall, some deep black voice, I guess he knew her. It was like, leave her alone, yo. And I didn't look over. I was just like, all right, that's my set. I'm out. I was like, my name's Melvin. I'm done. I was like, I'm done. I'm not gonna get beat up.
Arkansas, here we come.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just trying to get the fuck out of Baltimore right now. But this lady, like, really just was not having it. I was talking a lot of race stuff.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like white liberal. So anytime I was making these jokes, they weren't really fucking with the jokes because they felt uncomfortable laughing at the jokes. Mm-hmm. And then the black people who didn't, if you didn't know me, you just assumed I was up there cooning. But if you know who I am, you get that I'm just like I'm just like pulling the fucking hat off shit that's actually happening.
No, absolutely.
People actually joke like this. People actually talk about this stuff. It's not my sense of humor. It's not how I'm joking. But these things are really happening. Like I have a bit, I don't know if you saw it, but this lady, she refers to black people as 42s, and that's because that's the number the black crayon is in the box. And I made that joke, and no one laughed. I think the lady, like, that's where I lost the lady. She was like, I was like, look, I don't fucking say that shit.
It's like that reminds me of this thing that's Patrice O'Neal big, and that's one of my favorite fucking comedians, where he says, like, I know sassy black chick attitude or what have you, and it's right, like, dude, she's just giving him the stank eye of, he's like, I'm a fat motherfucker, I know how to deal with your type, and I was like, this is great. Yeah. He's like, how about I go to just like bite your cheek and give you a kiss or some shit?
Towards the end of it, I was like, damn. So I was like, is there any way you would ever come see me again? I'll take it a little bit more seriously. Like, I'll actually, like, do a better job if you want to come see me again. Like, I feel bad that you had this experience. And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. You want to, like, go on a date maybe? And, like, everyone started laughing. And she's like, and that's when the guy was like, yo, leave her alone. And I was like, all right. So it's nice to see you all. Good night.
But see, so back to that thing, like, this notion, like, when you do something that is considered, or when you do something that's considered kind of like, that's outside of our zone, that's outside of this black person zone or what have you, as if there is a zone, by the way, and it might have some crossover appeal, then it's like, oh, you cooning, you're doing this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's weird, like, for the better part of the duration of me being a podcaster, oh, that's what white people do.
Yeah.
By being down here, it's like, oh, ain't too many brothers down there. It's like, because motherfuckers don't come to places. Niggas don't come out.
Right, dude. Like, when I'm in certain areas, I'm literally the only black guy, which now, after trying to be more, like, aware and, like, more, like, conscious, it makes me a little anxious sometimes now. Where it's like, I used to have fun doing these things, and now it's just like, damn, wish there was more niggas around. Like, but, like, when there is more black people, I have way more fun, honestly. Like, when I went to Arkansas, I hung out with one of my black friends, and we had a great fucking time. Yeah, like, so, like, but, like, it sucks that, like, you can't, you know, I was just, like, raised a certain way, and then, like, went to certain schools and was introduced to certain people, and that makes me the kind of, you know, you're not black enough, or, like, you're one of those white black guys. It's like, I'm black just like everyone else, all right?
I'm blackly black.
Yeah, right.
That.
Suck it up.
Artificially black, right?
I like it. I like everything you like.
Where's the chicken, brother?
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, come on, man.
Whoa. But your thing that's really, back to the thing you said earlier about, like, can you crack your dad? Can you get your dad to laugh? Yeah. That was the thing I had with my father. I was just like, oh, ex-Marine, all of these different things. And
retired police officer.
And it was like this running bit where my friends was like, yo, I feel like your, like, dad, like shaves with, like, butter knives and shit, like, no lubricant. And I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. And I remember I said some shit that was just out there. I don't remember what it was. And he was just like, all right, that's pretty funny. Not even a laugh. It was just the acknowledgement. I was like, okay, cool, we're good.
I think it was like, so my mom doesn't do good with jokes or retelling jokes. Okay. And when I tell her a joke, for some reason, like, she doesn't understand the punchline. I think maybe me and my delivery, because sometimes she never knows when I'm joking because of the disorder I have. I can't pick up on sarcasm, and people sometimes don't understand my sarcasm. Gotcha. So, like, when I'm straight up joking, like, with her, I'm either straight deadpan sarcastic, so it's just like, and she knows that it's a joke, so she can laugh, right? And then sometimes if I tell her a joke, which I don't ever really do, I never really tell straight jokes ever. I told her a joke, I walked her through it, and saw I lost her at a point, like, brought her back, and I was like,
here's the breadcrumbs.
Right. Here's the punchline. And I was like, but I'm done, right? And then she's just like, what? And I was like, so then I had to, like, work through it, get her back to it, and she was like, oh. And then my dad, like, I told my dad a joke, and he laughed, and I was like,
all right. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
You get it. You get it.
I was like, you get it. And I was like, maybe it was just like a bad joke, and that's why that was funny. But, like, yeah, he thought it was funny. So
I use, like, and it's not bringing light or any of the wrong type of attention, but I use this same, like, kind of notion of I kind of flat across. And if I'm making a bit, someone knows I'm fucking doing a joke or whatever, or trying to say something that's funny. But when I'm doing something that's kind of like maybe kind of mean or kind of dickish, people just don't know, so they just kind of apologize for whatever they think they did already. And I was like, yes, I'm at a 8-degree black belt, and go fuck yourself. It's amazing. Makes me very happy.
8-degree black belt and sarcasm.
Let's see what we got here. And just for your own edification, sir, this is going well.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. You got to say it out loud. I'd never know. Like, taking a shot of mine, I'd be like, I hope he had as good of a time as I did. I don't waste his time.
Wiping myself off.
Like, I hope he did.
What would you say the funniest joke you ever heard is?
Funniest joke I ever heard?
Yeah, heard. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Or what do you? Or what are some of your favorite comedians in that kind of same vein? Because, you know, like, I like a certain group of people. I find like most of the guys I like are from Chicago.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, Kyle Kinane, fucking Matt Bronger, fucking Hannibal Buress, because apparently I look like him. Things like that.
Hannibal Buress is actually one of the comedians that, like, influenced me. When I go see a movie with my mom, it's called Neighbors. Zach Efron. That's where I was introduced to Hannibal Buress for the first time. And this is, like, right after the whole fucking Bill Cosby shit popped off. And I seen this man. And I have a friend from high school whose dad, I swear to God, is fucking Hannibal Buress. Talk slow, just like Hannibal. Like, hey, Melvin, what's going on? Tell your mom and dad I said hello.
Yo.
And I was like, I love this nigga. And every time I would see him, I was like, and so then I saw that movie Neighbors, and the fucking cops like, man, I love fucking with you when you high. And I was like, no way. And like, just was like obsessed with Hannibal Buress and was like watching a lot of his shit. And it became real for me because he was just like a regular dude who was just like working hard and hustling and doing open mics. Yeah. And like blew up because of that, what he's like, a point that he made. Yeah. And I was like, it made it more real versus like comedians who were like doing TV and like doing shit and then like, you know, doing comedy. Like, he was just like it was real. It was more real, more obtainable. Whereas like comedians now are like, they've just always been famous. You never really see like them blow up.
on the trail of him like doing those sets. Like I saw him in DC when he was first talking about that shit. So
yeah, no, I didn't get introduced him to like Neighbors came out way after he blew up.
So
or when that situation blew up.
So when that situation was out there, like I'd seen him. Well, I'd heard like his he had a chunk about like going to New Orleans. And based off of how he described it, he and I are both Aquariuses, so I'm like all in it. Right. And he had said some shit, and I was like, all right, now I go to New Orleans every year for my birthday. Right. And I was like, oh, I can get drunk and just like fucking throw myself parade.
His bit about everyone's just drinking. And shit. His bit about when he was in like Canada or something and like the jaywalking shit.
Yes, that shit was great.
Telling a story about jaywalking, it's just like his like whole everything about him is like what's good about on stage. Whereas like I'm currently trying to figure out am I going to put more effort into what it is that I'm talking about? Am I going to put more effort into like the level of energy I have or don't have on stage? And like before it used to be like all over the place. I'd move, I would get on stage and move the mic stand out of my way because I'd just be moving all the fuck around all over the place, like talking. But like lately I just like super low energy and just like trying to figure out, am I just going to like stay in one place? So I'm like, it's gonna start trying sitting on the stool. I know that's like now you're supposed to. It's
like unplugged.
But I think just kind of just like sit on the stool and talk now and be still instead of like moving around. So I've been like focusing on like the level of energy. But like Hannibal is kind of just like a whole character on stage. Yeah,
it's like I dig it, and it's like I try to use like and maybe you can speak on this like when I'm like in a bad spot and shit's just like not going well. I remember I like had like some wild depressing shit going on, and I would just be at the crib, all solo dolo, and just put on I think I would like put together like a playlist of just different comedians that I like, and it's just like I know all of their shit like because I was just listening to the same thing on loop every day, and. Have you ever run into like a situation where you've had some like personal shit that's going on, some trials, maybe tribulations, and you're like, all right, I need to listen to this person's album. I need to listen to fucking like Live in Chicago. I need to listen to something that, and what would that album be?
It's like mostly music, honestly. If I'm ever sad, I'll put on sad music for some reason. I hate feeling sad.
Sounds like an emo kid right there.
Yeah, right, yeah. So if I'm going through some sad shit, and I'm like diagnosed with depression, so like with my depression, I learned that like it doesn't mean that I'm sad. It just means that I don't necessarily am feeling anything. And that was like a long thing for me to learn. I just always thought being depressed was like, oh, I'm sad. But if I am sad, you know what I mean, I'll put some sad shit on. But if I am like going through something, I don't actually really listen to like other people's like comedy to like get me through it. It's typically like my go-to is music, honestly. I listen to like music. I listen to hip hop. I have like two moods, like weird experimental bass music and just straight ignorant hip hop.
I mean, ignorant the better.
Yeah.
The more ignorant the better.
And what I really like is like MF Doom, like Wu-Tang. I just got introduced to Griselda.
Okay, you get it.
Yeah, and like was listening to Griselda, and I was like, "This is fucking it." I was like, "Wow, this is it." I was like, "I will never be sad again." Listening to that shit, I love it.
What was the fucking thing? Yeah, fuck it, don't worry about it. I literally came and then it disappeared. Let's see. Has there ever been a situation, and maybe you've already touched on it, but has there ever been a situation where you were like super embarrassed while performing? And what was that situation?
That lady.
Oh shit! Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, she fucked it up. I didn't do any shit for a while after her. I was like, what the fuck, lady? And like when I don't get closure, I can understand what it is that I fucked up on. To not do it again, it really fucks with me too. I'm just like constantly overthinking and shit like that. I was just like super embarrassed. One time, there was this time when I first started, and I hadn't really bombed until that moment. Yeah. And it was like a big show. Like he only picked the top of the top to do this show because it was like Memorial Day or like I don't know. And I was like newer, so it was like kind of a big deal that he allowed me to do it. And he was like, bring your A game. He was like, do that one bit that you do. He was like, kill it. Yeah. And he had his Memorial Day show. I killed it. I think it was like the Labor Day show, and it was the same deal. He was like, you gotta fucking like. There's a lot of people here. You gotta fucking kill it. And the guy before, like I had a solid set and to kill before. Guy before me fucking crushed it. And I had to like follow up. Fuck. And it just like wasn't. It just didn't stick. It just wasn't working. And I was like kind of like embarrassed. Like when I get anxious or embarrassed, the back of my neck gets real hot. Yeah. And I can like feel it. And I was like, yeah, you're not. I was like, figure something out, bro. Get the fuck off the stage because you're not doing it right now. And like just like powered through it. And I think a lot of people were like admired the fact that like I kind of dealt with that shit and didn't bitch about it because, you know, what can you do? But the guy got up and that's the thing. This motherfucker, I think he works for 98 Rock. So this guy's a professional, like, just like talker, like.
Is white dude?
Yeah, I think like
Mickey
Schlegel. I fucking hate him. I hate him.
Yo,
passion, dude.
So you got the answer that I wanted. Like, who do you not fuck with?
I do not
this
fuck
guy.
with him, yo. Like, I hate that man.
Comedian smoke.
I don't even think he knows who I am, or he doesn't even know I exist. But this man at one of these shows,
I'm gonna add him on this one.
Was like doing bits and stuff, and so he got to do like a full like 2-hour set, and he was just like talking about his life, and just like talking about shit. It's like misogynistic. It's just like, what the fuck? We're sitting here, and I'm just like. None of this is jokes. It's just him. It's like a fucking therapy session for him. Yeah. And just getting all this shit off his chest. Some of the stuff was kind of funny. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the shit was funny. But for 2 hours, most of the shit you're talking about was not...
Like brevity, sir.
Funny,
brevity.
yeah. It's like, come on, figure it out. And then went on a bit about... I can't remember who this comedian was. He's like around the time of like Richard Pryor. Like,
okay.
He just got accused of like dating another comedian's son or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Paul Mooney?
Yes.
Yeah.
Paul Mooney. Mickey met Paul Mooney or some shit like that, and is telling a story about meeting Paul Mooney. Yeah. And which, in the story, Paul Mooney refers to Mickey and says the N-word. And Mickey thought it would be okay on stage to tell us this in the joke, in the like story.
That's like white people sneak dissing.
And was like saying it in Paul Mooney's voice. And I would like actively get up and be like, yo, you can't do that. And he'd be like, and keep going back to it. And no one was like having my back. And I was like, he can't do this.
What the fuck is this guy doing?
Y'all ain't get my black card revoked.
Motherfucker.
You can't say that.
You're like, let the record show.
Right, dude. Like, I don't know. I hate that shit. I was like, come on, bro.
I mean, I
have some respect.
I don't like that shit where it's like certain people who have just all of the bandwidth, all of the rope to just do their goofy shit because they may have maybe a larger audience that could get whatever the platform they're using a little bit more attention. Because it's like, I'm kind of aware of that guy too, and I won't go see him. I refuse.
No, it's awful, dude. I mean, so I think the guy that was doing his stuff, I think Justin Schlegel, I think it's I don't want to say the wrong name, but I'm pretty sure he worked at 98 Rock at the time, and he's fucking hilarious. He didn't get on stage. Yeah. He comes through the back of the crowd, starts staring people in their faces, and just does this bit at like he's like the dude from Full Metal Jacket.
Nice.
The first like 10 minutes of Full Metal Jacket, just does this bit, pulling his thing up, getting people's face. You motherfucker,
fucking Arlie Emery,
dude. Just straight military style.
Gunny.
I swear to God, this ugly motherfucker, and just like did that. Never got on stage, and was like, all right, now I want y'all to start clapping. Walks out.
And it comes back.
No, just leaves. And that was it. And people were just like, is he coming back? Like,
Yo.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that was gold. That was it right there. That's it. And they're like, you're next. And I was like, dude, okay, what's up? I'm Melvin. I was like, shut the fuck up. That guy was funny.
It's just like, what is,
yeah,
does the
that
whole
was kind
fucking...
of embarrassing. Yeah, trying to go up behind someone who crushed it. And not being prepared for that.
We had this thing, like... couple Baltimore podcast fests ago and shit. I think it was the first one that we did, and we went on, and then some like guys went on that we had never met before, and then they turned out to be cool, and we were like, we fucks with them now. So after the two of us go up, and we were kind of, for something that was like one of these made up things, we were the headliners of this shit, but it was just organized really weirdly to the point. After we wrapped up, it was another show that went on. The entire audience left with us, and I was just that had to be fucking mortifying for them.
Yeah, just everyone just like dips. Like,
and they're talking like, how to be healthier. It's like, fuck this. Don't eat burgers. It's like, fuck you guys.
God damn, it's America.
This is a bar, damn it.
I want to eat burgers.
I'm eating dessert nachos. Anyway.
Right, yeah. Well, people are screaming comedy at me.
This is freedom. So let's see. What's something that you touched on, like dude saying some misogynistic and kind of just other whack bullshit? What are certain topics that you're just like, these are off limits for me? And
bro, like, I'm glad you asked that. That's a really good question because I feel like no one ever talks about shit that they don't want to hear about or don't.
We're in cancel culture right now.
I think like joking about rape is not okay. Like saying the word or like inferring it or joking about it or tiptoeing around it is just not cool. Like that happens to a lot of people, with male and female. And
Absolutely.
people just aren't comfortable talking about it. So even your own friend, you can be up there talking about it, and your own friend, like your significant other could have, and she just had never told you, and like you just made shit weird now, and you had no idea. Like just that is just not. And I learned this lesson like in high school. Like my neighbor, we had like co-ed dorms at Stevenson, and she like had a situation, and like I just like casually said the word joking, and they were like, "Nah, you can't." She was like, "Please don't do that," like, and explained everything to me, and I was like, never again. So I just like can't. Also, with where I work with young adults with autism on that, and it's like a day program from like 9 to 3, and they have autism. So when I did like study, did all the shit to like learn everything about it, found out that like at one point the term mental retardation was like a scientific way to like diagnose what they thought autism was. And so then from there, you get the word retard, and people saying I hate it when people say
it's not a crisp term.
It's not. I hate it when people joke about it, or even now, instead of saying like the R word, people will straight up say like blah 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 is acting autistic, and it's like, okay, like that is just come on now. Like,
I think the main thing that kind of makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, like, I think most things, if done well, and work was actually done, not someone just saying some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is a funny observation.
Right.
I think if you've done work, you have a lot more work to do to try to get that over.
Sure.
But, and I think
twice as smart than you are funny to make something ignorant stick.
But I think, like, looking at, we're not far removed from, especially like in comedy, because I feel like there's some degree of like extra attention. I'm not going to say an attack because I don't do it professionally or anything along those lines, but there's extra attention around it, and it's harder for some people to like reconcile with their past. So like when Eddie Murphy was throwing around faggot like left and right and shit, it's like, yo, how are we gonna look at your old shit? Because when you have this new special, we're gonna have to reference the old shit. Right. So how do we do that? And
he apologized for all.
No, absolutely. But we don't really believe in that either. Like, we don't believe in apologies. It's like, you said that shit, so let's go back into it. That's the one thing that always, it's like, it's hard to make a bit out of that. That's the one thing we were really fucked up about.
I'm not a fan of that word either.
For a long time.
People say that, and I just like get real cringe. Like the other shit is like R word. Like I get it. It's like it'll be a little bit of time before everyone is aware that that's just not an appropriate thing to say. Yeah. Also the other, like, both R words for real that I mentioned. But
you said Rob, right? No.
But no, like when people say
that should be a podcast. Yo, let's do it. We're done, bro. Leaving.
But yeah, when people say the F word, it's like stopping your tracks, like correct that motherfucker. Like, come on, bro, it's 2020. Like, come on.
When words sound harder, it bothers me. It's just like, all right, you were smooth with that one, but why you had to put the GOT at the end of it? Now it's kind of like,
come on, man. I had to like turn someone's comedy off because it was so good. Who's the dude from Undercover Brother?
Eddie Griffin?
I had to turn his recent one off. It was just too much. Yeah. I was like, dang, I must be a bitch or something, but I can't. This ain't funny. I
enjoy like beta male comedy. It's just like, yo, I'm not like, if I see an alpha comedian that's just like, yo, I'm banging weights and knocking broads, just like, go fuck yourself.
I mean, like, if what you're saying is funny, like, and if I can relate to it or like whatever, that's cool and all. But like, if it's just straight, like, just saying some straight ignorant shit without some facts. Like, I feel like the person who's killing the game with his ignorant shit,
spin it,
facts is who's that fucking guy? Joe Rogan.
Okay, yeah.
Says a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah.
And then like has either facts to back up why he's saying it, or like get you to understand where he's coming from, and then you're just like, oh, okay.
Totally.
All right, fair enough, But yeah, some of the shit he says is just like straight ignorant. And then like I think Dave Chappelle's most recent thing, he was like making fun of. He said something about the gay community,
the transphobic community, the alphabet group, and all of that stuff. Well, they said what he was saying was transphobic and all of that, and
then it's like if I don't know, like some of the shit, because I was like watching it with like my gay friend, and I was like, I just didn't genuinely find some of the shit funny, and it wasn't like I didn't want to laugh to not offend them, because I think they were even like laughing themselves, but like I was just like, I wonder how this kind of shit makes people like feel genuinely, you know what I mean? Like if you are gay, like how are you supposed to take some of that shit? But the trans stuff is like it's fucked up, but it's like, I'm sorry, but like it's kind of funny. Like I'm sorry to laugh, but like That shit's kind of funny.
That shit's kind of funny because it's not about the individuals. It's about the spirit around it. It's like,
yeah. I don't think it's...
we're uncomfortable with this, you know?
Yeah, I don't think he's, like, genuinely trying to... I think now, more so, he's, like... He sees how much backlash he's getting from the community, so he was like, all right, well, I'll slap back or whatever. So he was like, you know, I am out of the two, between Dave Chappelle and an entire community of people, I think Dave Chappelle may be funnier out of this checking people. So, like, but, yeah, I mean, some shit, like, I kind of feel bad laughing at, but some shit's just funny. Like, what do you want me to do?
Like, yeah, like, I think it's a lot of people, and we're getting ready to wrap up here. I think it's a lot of people, and I just remember this one piece from Patrice O'Neal, and he was like, he went on Fox News, and he had, like, it was a like woman that was on there. It was just like, you don't understand comedy. And it was the optics of she's a small blonde white woman and he's like a little bit bigger than me. He's like a 6'5", 350-pound black dude.
Away, right?
Yeah. Like almost 10 years ago. And he's like, oh, you want me to act out like I'm some big gorilla nigga? He was just going down this whole vein. He was just like, no, I'm here for funny. You don't know funny, but you're trying to legislate to comedians what they should talk about and what they shouldn't. And creatively speaking, that's the thing that kind of caught my attention. I was like, this has just been going on for a long time, this idea of this is what your bit is, and this is the box of funny. Anything outside of this box, no, you can't do it. And I think, like, the racial stuff kind of becomes a part of it, like, oh, you're a black comedian, so you can only talk about these areas. Oh, you're a Mexican comedian, you can only talk about these areas. And, like, listen to some of the stuff from, like, Gabriel Iglesias or what have you, and he was like, I'm a comedian first, he's like Mexican second. You know, I'm not like a Mexican comedian. I'm a comedian that's Mexican. And he's like, there is a distinction.
Right.
And it's really interesting to kind of hear like a comedian's point of view when it comes to being funny because it's something to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So upcoming stuff, what do you got going on?
So I'm currently in the processing stages of I wrote, filmed, and directed my own TV show.
Good shit.
Currently in the processing stages of getting that edited so that we can like start emailing people to see if we can get it on some sort of network or something like that.
Do you need a bouncer?
A bouncer, yeah. I need everything, dude. I need so much help. But yeah, so once that's done, I'm going to be, you know, fully trying to promote that and seeing what I can do with that. If I have to send it to like, I don't know, we're working on that. The comedy group that I'm a part of is called Cafe Negro Comedy. It's on Instagram and Facebook. You can check it out. It's me and 3 other guys. There's like rap, improv, sketches, and comedy, storytelling going on. We just had it. That was the show that was in New York that we had. We're going to have another one in New York again. We have a couple shows coming up in Baltimore, I think in April.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to try to get all of us together. And I'm trying to like organize like podcasts so that when we're all together, because we all live different places. One bounces back between DC and New York. One lives in Philly. One lives in Asheville, North Carolina. Yeah. So when we're all together, we try to make the most of it. I think we're actually doing the Depot. Across the street.
Good shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
As one of the shows. So
then I'll pull up.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
And I may say, like, good work.
Yeah, right.
Give you the thumbs up.
Job. Hey, that sucked. Yeah, so that I just had some merch drop. I had a T-shirt that a friend of mine designed the logo on the back, and it's Soup of the Day.
I like the stickers
on the
lot.
Front. Yeah, you like the stickers? Yeah. Put some stickers up. I'd like the different places I like to go to. I think I went to the Crown, threw some stickers up, and then
some ages I'm going at the Crown. I'm too old for the Crown now.
Yeah.
I'm washed. It's done.
The Crown is lit. I felt like too old when I got in a Towson. Like I went out one time and it was like, I was like, I don't belong here anymore. I met this dude from New York. He's like 28, and I was like, bro, there's other shit that happens in this city that's like way better than this.
Yeah,
and he was like, hit me up, bro. And I was like, I will, because you need to not be doing this anymore. He was funny, though. He was a cool guy. His name was George. Shout out, George. But yeah, you said you wanted to ask me about the water.
Yeah, water. What's the deal with
the
water?
water drinking videos.
Yeah, put it up. Yeah.
Okay, so I was like watching like just videos scrolling on Facebook and watched this video about this guy doing this interview about competitive water drinking videos. So what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Right? So this one guy, and every guy who makes an account, their account on YouTube is so-and-so drinks water is the name of the account. And they're like super encouraging of each other. They message each other. I think the one guy has like 3,200 water drinking videos. And I didn't realize that it was competitive. I just thought guys were just like drinking water. And I'm into that weird shit. Like going to the corner of the internet to find something strange that may not necessarily be inappropriate, but it's just weird, you know?
Yeah.
One guy got so like weirded out. his like family and coworkers found out that he was doing it, and he deleted all of his videos and just like disappeared off Facebook.
I've been
It's
outed.
like, just like weird community of dudes that just like do this shit, and I was like, this is so cool. And I hate drinking water. I love juice and tea. Like I would like if I'm dating a girl, like after about like a month of us dating, she's like, I got you tea. Like that's what like I love
baby.
tea. Yeah, she's like, oh, like I got you tea. I knew you were coming over. And I was like, yes. So
Is this
then,
unflavored smack?
Yeah, right. Is this not Arizona? God damn it.
99 cent,
I was
baby.
just like, you know what? I'm just gonna start drinking water. I used to make a lot of videos on like Snapchat. I kind of use Instagram more now, but I used to make like a lot of like videos. Like when Vine was happening, I would make videos and like, but instead of like posting it to Vine, hoping that it would go viral, I had more followers on Snapchat, so I was essentially just like making these like Vine style videos on Snapchat, and people were like watching them and like, oh, this is so funny. Yeah. And I stopped, and then I was like, you know what? I haven't really done that, and with the seasonal depression and all that bullshit, and like really not doing anything creative, I was like, in order to create more content, I'll do these water drinking videos. And so I just started like drinking water one day and just recorded myself, and I've actively been drinking way more water because of the videos, and it gives me something to look forward to. And so now I've just been like healthier and more motivated. This is really weird how
I might have to get on this.
Drinking water has saved my life. So like when I rewatched the video, I noticed that these guys are doing it competitively. Yeah. And so every time they have a video, so-and-so drinks water, video number, whatever, or this is drink number, whatever. And like when you get to a certain level, you get a milestone in videos, people are just like, oh, good for you, right? Yeah. And so I haven't been counting, but I have a decent amount for just starting this year.
I mean, I've seen a lot of them.
Right, yeah. Like I post a lot of like water drinking, and I'll even go days without doing it as to not like spam people. But now I've been like putting music. So on Instagram, you can just like type water, and every song ever that was ever created with water in the lyrics pops up. So just like every day.
Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls is playing.
Right, dude. Yeah. So like I'm eventually going to, I think maybe once I hit like 50, I'll take all of those videos and like put it on YouTube to try and like get myself into that community. Okay. And make like a Melvin Drinks Water thing to see if it gets anything. But right now, it's just my Instagram followers just see it. And people will send me videos of them drinking water, which I think is good. I mean, honestly, like it's just a fun. Yeah. Like people are staying hydrated. I'm staying hydrated. It honestly really gives me something to look forward to. If I'm like feeling like down, I'm like, well, just drink a glass of water and record it. Like, I don't know. It's like it's helpful, and I really do suggest it to like people when they're just like, I'm depressed. I'm like, you should drink more water.
I think I'm gonna do something similar, but with whiskey.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna do whiskey. It's just like Rob's drinking it again. It's
Rob's drinking whiskey. Shot number 6. Like,
let's get it. It's like hootie hoo. Yeah. Well, this has been great.
Yeah, this was awesome. Yeah.
I want to thank you for pulling up. Until next time, for Melvin Penn. This is Rob Lee.
Saying the day.
Yeah. Saying that there's art everywhere. You should go look for it.